Every single country on Earth is broke, but nobody is coming to collect. The United States is buried under $38 trillion. China is drowning in its own red ink. Even the rich oil nations are borrowing like there's no tomorrow. It creates a paradox that should keep you up at night. If every nation is in debt, who actually owns the planet? Most people think we owe China, or some shadowy group of bankers in a back room. But the truth is much more unsettling. We don't owe the money to an enemy. We owe it to a ghost. I'm the voice behind Paradox of Finance, and today, we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible scaffolding holding up your bank account, your pension, and the entire global economy. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's a story of war, power, and a 300-year-old magic trick that started in 1694. Back then, England was losing a war to France and had zero gold left. They did something radical. They didn't find money. They invented a promise. They asked wealthy merchants for a loan, and in return, the king gave them bonds, promises to pay them back with future taxes. This was the birth of the Bank of England and the moment the world changed forever. Suddenly, a government's power wasn't measured by how much gold it had in a vault, but by how much it could convince people to lend it. Fast forward to today, and that little experiment has exploded into a $315 trillion mountain of global debt. That is 3 times the size of everything the entire human race produces in a year. You might wonder, how does the math even work? It works because of a circular mirror. Take the US debt, for example. We're told China owns us, but they only hold about 2% of that $38 trillion. The vast majority of that debt is owned by American banks, insurance companies, and your own retirement funds. When you pay taxes, that money goes to pay interest on bonds held by the very funds that manage your 401k. It's a planetary game of hot potato, where the potato is made of IOUs. Japan lends to America. America lends to the IMF. The IMF lends to emerging nations, and those nations buy Western bonds to keep their currencies stable. But here's the secret the politicians will never tell you on the evening news. The debt is never, ever going to be repaid. Not in your lifetime, not in your children's lifetime. In fact, if the United States actually paid off its debt tomorrow, the global economy would instantly collapse. Why? Because government debt is the safe collateral that every bank uses to stay alive. Without those bonds, the dollar supply would vanish and the gears of capitalism would grind to a halt. The system isn't designed for repayment. It's designed to be rolled over forever. It's like a subscription service that never ends. As long as people believe the government will keep paying the interest, the machine keeps humming. This brings us to the ultimate paradox. We say we owe it to ourselves, but the rewards aren't shared. While the debt grows, the interest payments flow upward from the pockets of everyday taxpayers into the hands of the massive institutions that own the debt. This is why inequality gapped so wide while the world stayed broke. Debt isn't a burden to the system. It is the fuel. But fuel can run out. We've seen what happens when the belief fades. We saw it in Greece, we saw it in Argentina, and we're seeing it in Sri Lanka. When the trust breaks, the numbers stop mattering, and the creditors, the IMF, the bond hawks, the big banks suddenly show their faces. So, are we living in a golden age of credit or a house of cards waiting for a breeze? The line between being a lender and a debtor has vanished. You are both. Your savings are someone else's debt, and your future taxes are someone else's profit. If this perspective just flipped your understanding of money, hit that subscribe button for Paradox of Finance. We're digging into the history they don't teach in school. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. If the plan is to never pay it back, is it even debt anymore, or is it just a new form of currency? Drop your thoughts below and share this with one friend who still thinks China owns the US. History has the answers, and I'll see you in the next one to show you where to look.